Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another Premier Division show. What a weekend we had in the Premier Division. Goals galore. Absolutely enjoyed this weekend. I was at Daleyman Park. There's a matchday vlog out for that, so check that one out. Let's get into the show. So at Daleyman Park in the Dublin Derby, it finished Bohemians 3, Shamrock Rovers 2. And ultimately, the two goals Shamrock Rovers got at the end put a gloss on this because Bows were by far the better side. They were 3-0 up with only, in injury time actually, they were 3-0 up. They'd scored their third through Ross Tierney in 87 minutes, or a full value for the victory. Parsons opened the scoring after 26 minutes. Whelan's converted a penalty after 56. Ross Tierney, as I mentioned, 87. Late on, it was Pico Lopez on 90 minutes, and then Aaron Green scored on 90 minutes also to put a gloss on it for the Hoops. I think this was the best atmosphere I've seen in the Jody stand for a long time, a few years I would say. I've been to some Bows games where they've played Shamrock Rovers. I'm beating them, of course, at Daleyman Park and in the Jody stand. But the atmosphere for this was electric from start to finish. It really was. It was absolutely brilliant. And even before Bows got the goal in 26 minutes, it was absolutely fantastic. As I said, I've seen Bows beat Rovers, and this atmosphere is just on another level, to be honest with you. Absolutely brilliant atmosphere. Really enjoyed the atmosphere, I have to say. The best one this season for me, personally. The game itself, as I said, Bows thoroughly deserved to win. They were by far the better side. They had a sharpness, they had a desire, a willingness to close down, a willingness to get into tackles. Everything, I have to say, the Shamrock Rovers didn't have. Shamrock Rovers, for me, from their part, were very poor in this game. As I said, 3-2 was a gloss. The first goal, from Shamrock Rovers' point of view, said it all for me. Especially when I looked back at it a number of times. The more I've seen it, the worse it gets. It's a shocking goal for Rovers to concede, particularly Shamrock Rovers. The ball's played across to Dawson Devoy in the middle of the park. And watch it back yourself. Where's Matt Healy? Matt Healy's about 10 yards away from Dawson Devoy. You can't give Dawson Devoy 2 or 3 yards, let alone 10 yards. By the time the ball's played into Dawson, who's completing his own, Healy should be moving into that space to close him down as the ball's been played. He's still about 10 yards away when Dawson picks up the ball. What can Dawson do at this point? Get his head up, look up, pick out a pass. And I'll get to that in a minute, because the pass he picks, I'll get to it now actually. The pass he picks out to Colin Whelan. Whelan is simply standing there in the middle. There's 3 Shamrock Rovers centre backs on the pitch, remember. Where are they? Nowhere near him. Whelan doesn't move. He doesn't make a little move left, a little move right, or move towards the ball, move back. He's standing there. Devoy just plays the ball into his feet, and it's a lovely flick by this point when Whelan gets it. Still no Shamrock Rovers player near him, by the way. Lovely flick around the corner to Parsons, who finishes brilliantly, to be fair. And it's a very good finish by Parsons. For Bows, a good goal. Shamrock Rovers' point of view, it's diabolical. When Healy does eventually decide to close down, he's well off it. And he's not sprinting. He's just jogging towards Devoy. So there's their first mistake there. And as I said, Colin Whelan standing in the middle on his own. Where are the 2 centre-backs? Not one of them close. He can't believe his luck, Whelan. He's looking around, he's going, give me the ball. There's no one near me. Horrendous stuff from Shamrock Rovers. You expect better from Shamrock Rovers in that regard. And that just said everything about Shamrock Rovers on the day. Their midfield's very poor. Healy was very poor. Dylan Watts was very poor. Victor, only 17, couldn't get into the game. Noonan was isolated up front for Shamrock Rovers and defensively poor as well. Rovers had absolutely no desire in this game whatsoever. And if I was a Shamrock Rovers fan, I'd be thinking that's absolutely not good enough. Bows had everything. Defended. I know they conceded 2 at the end. They'd be disappointed. Tourette's could be disappointed with conceding that one, which makes it 3-1 especially. But overall, particularly Pat Hickey was fantastic in this game. He was brilliant in this game, Pat Hickey. Parsons, probably the best game I've seen him play for Bows in a long time. Tierney, Devoy were good as usual as well, and Whelan. Flores, I thought, was good left back. I couldn't pick out any Shamrock Rovers players that were diabolical, to be honest with you. But I just don't understand why Shamrock Rovers, and Shamrock Rovers fans might think the same here, why they can't show the same intent, the same desire, the same guts, the same willingness to want to work and close down when they play Bows, particularly at Daleyman. I don't understand it. Now, Rovers, it's a long season and it's a marathon, not a sprint, and there's a good chance to go and win the league again. Do you know? But on the night, nowhere near good enough. Bows, brilliant. They brought passion to the game. They brought an attitude, a desire, and played good football as well, ultimately. The penalty in 56 minutes, Cleary as well, gets the wrong side of the wheel and probably lucky not to get a red card. He picks up a yellow. And actually, I don't think it was Whelan. I think it was Tierney. I can't remember. But anyway, gets the wrong side. And Whelan scores the penalty. Tierney's goal, the breakaway goal, he takes it very, very well. The chance before that, which he should have, he took too many touches actually, which he should have scored. Rovers, apart from the late flurry there, Brennan forces a good save for Tresca, which was a very good volley. And Brennan was one of the few players I thought that worked hard enough for Rovers in this game, to be honest with you. But found it difficult, probably because he was the only one. And Bowes were kind of wise to him after seeing his display against St Patrick's Athletic. But Bowes will be delighted. 12 points, they're top of the league now. They've won 3 on the bounce. They'll be disappointed, funnily enough, with the way they conceded the 2 goals, because it does gloss it for Rovers. But they're top of the league in 12 points, 2 points clear of Drogheda United, so they're clear top now. And overall, I think they'll be absolutely delighted. And as I said, fantastic atmosphere at Dalymount. Rovers, you know, I think in private, Bradley will be very, very unhappy with that. And if the players watch that back, you know, I think they're playing Derry City next. I expect a bit of bite from Rovers in that one. They finished 3-2 at Dalymount for Bohemians. At Richmond Park, St Patrick's Athletic had a much needed boost with a 4-0 win against Dundalk, who were unbeaten at this point. Haven't won a game, but unbeaten to this point. And good performance by Pats in this game. Roman Palmer opening the scoring after 20 minutes. Sean Hoare, who started, a rare start for him. Very good header from a corner in 26 minutes. El Bazzetti in 48. And the 4th goal coming from Aidan Keenan's substitute on 83 minutes. And a very good performance by St Patrick's Athletic. Dundalk did have a couple of chances in the game. Owen Kenny does well. Stephen's son forces a great save from Anang. And Arubi should score. They were 3-0 down at this point, but Arubi should score when he finds basically Luke Turner on the line. He probably should have taken a touch and played a pass. This is an interesting one, I always think. Turner's on the line. Arubi hits it first time. Turner's in the middle. It's a good block. But if that was a goalkeeper, there's a good chance Ruby either takes a touch and plays it into the corner or just simply plays it into the corner. It's very strange when a player's on the line. It's almost like attackers or players take less care with the finish, but surely you should treat it like as if that's the goalkeeper, you know? Because if he plays that in the corner, even semi in the corner, Turner can't get there. He can't use his hands around him either. It's always a strange one, that I think. But yeah, Dundalk could be disappointed. Probably they've had a lot of games in the last while and they've put a lot of effort. Friday and Monday, I think they would have put a lot of effort into Drogh's game and obviously the Rovers game. That it probably caught up on them here a little bit. Didn't help that they met Pats, who put in a really, really good performance as well. Jimmy Brown was excellent on his debut, by the way, for Pats. Keane Levy had a really good game. Often critical of Levy that he doesn't get his head up and it's a bit aimless, the headless chicken stuff, but really good in this game. Seemed to be helped by Jimmy Brown, who seemed to be giving him a lot of instruction. Edmondson, even though he didn't score, Edmondson had a good game for Pats. His hold-up play was excellent. His link-up play, very, very good too. Midfield, Bagley and Lennon, very, very good in this game too. And they did play the wing-backs again. They did play the wing-backs, but El Bazzetti played very high. He attacked. The only thing is he wasn't tracking a lot of the time, which meant Turner was dragged out and Turner had to almost stand in at left full. So that's something El Bazzetti has to improve on, particularly in a game where maybe, you know, you're not coasting in, let's say. He has to improve on that, I think. But Jimmy Brown, yeah, really, really good player. Barking instructions. Pats need a bit of leadership. I mean, a cameo for Chris Forrester, and he was up to his usual tricks as well. But Dundalk will be disappointed. They'll be disappointed. That's the league for you. If you're anyway off it, there's the threat of getting a hammer, and Pats did dish out that hammer, and they'll be playing Galway United on Monday as well, so that's an interesting game. But an Inchicore, good result for Pats, good first win of the season. Sebastian 4, Dundalk 0. Said there were goals this weekend. What a mad game there was at the Brandywell, where it finished Derry City 4, Waterford FC 2. Derry's last game at the Brandywell for some time. They're away from home next week, and they'll be playing at Celtic Park as well. Their home games for a time as well. I think it's 4 or 5 matches. Shamrock Rovers will be the first game at Celtic Park when they play there. But we've talked about Derry and players out of position and find the right formula, etc., etc. Ultimately, Michael Duffy's still the man. Hat-trick in this game, saved the day. Waterford will be disappointed because they went 2 up. Voiles after 19 minutes and Lonergan penalty, which for me was a penalty as well. It was a foul. Put Waterford 2 up. And curiously, just on the penalty there, Amond hasn't scored this season. I know he rattled the crossbar last week, but I would have thought he would have wanted to step up and take this one. So curious to let it go to Lonergan. It was an opportunity to make amends for the penalty miss. Maybe he's not the most confident at the moment, perhaps. I would have expected him to step up and take it. Lonergan dispatches it well, to be fair, but the first goal was a mix-up at the back between Fleming and the goalkeeper Beach, and I think it's mostly the keeper's fault here. He puts Fleming in an awkward position. If he just hangs back a little bit, Fleming can head it back to him, but he makes it awkward. He comes right out, and then Fleming has nowhere to go, and he heads it beyond the goalkeeper, who's come right out of the area, and Voiles does well to follow up and put into the net. And that's a problem, I think, for Derry City. Brian Maher's out, and I think every goal, bar the penalty, of course, every goal they've conceded, bar the penalty, has been a keeper. If not error, certainly they could have done better, and I think Brian Maher would have done better. I think that's an issue for Derry now in the next few weeks as well, so they'll be hoping they can bang in the goals. But Duffy's the man. Equalises, gets one back in 58 from a header. There was an overload on Waterford's right-hand side. 75, brilliant. What a goal that is. Cross, takes it on his chest, bang. Brilliant goal. Akanyemi equalises then, or puts him in front to make it 3-2 with a free header, which Waterford will be disappointed with, by the way. And Duffy steps up, definite penalty, and Duffy converts to make it 4-2, and that's his hat-trick, and he's now level with Colin Whelan, 4 goals, top of the charts, and he's the one player they can't do without. Simple as that. I think most clubs have a player, Bowes of Devoy, I think, Pats Joe Redmond, for example, like Shelbourne Harry Wood, Derry Michael Duffy, they cannot do without him for any period of time. They're struggling without Maher a little bit at the back, but without Duffy, they'd be in big trouble, I think. And what a player. Still probably the best player in the league overall, in my opinion. And they're getting it's turned into a habit, these late goals for Derry City, and their wins so far have been all saved by late goals. Now that's good in a way. It's also a negative in a way. It's a positive and a negative. You can't keep doing that. But at this minute in time, it's definitely a positive for them, and it's a big 3 points. They were 2 down after 51 minutes. If they'd lost this game, I think there would have been a lot of rumblings, and there might have been a bit of pressure on Tiernan Lynch. But in the end, it's a very important win, and McMullen made some good saves in this game for Waterford, to be honest, as well. One fantastic save too. So ultimately Derry probably did deserve to win 4-2, but just again, it's a late show, something that can't continue. But for now, it's got them out of jail again, and early doors, that's fine. But it's something that can't continue. You can't keep doing that for me. Waterford still look porous at the back, in my opinion. They look at sea at the back in general, I have to say. It has to improve. It's percentage football they're playing as well. A lot of long balls, hitting hopeful football. They have to improve, I think, very quickly. But Derry City grabbing an important 3 points in their final game for a time at the Brandywell. Now, at Sullivan Land Park, finished Drogheda United 1, Shelbourne 2. Massive result for Shelbourne. Brandon Kavanagh gives Drogheda United after 6 minutes, and Bowen equalises on 47. Harry Wood converts a penalty on 62 minutes to get the Tolka Park Club 3 points for the first time this season. That's 5 points suddenly from 3 games, which isn't too bad, to be honest with you. And big win for Shells, particularly when you go 1 down to Drogheda. It can be difficult, and they changed up the defence a bit. Norris was left back, leverage and Bowen, or centre back, etc. So, a massive win for them. Drogheda took the lead in 6 minutes after brilliant play from Andrew Quinn. He just hairs up the pitch, and I think Shelbourne are expecting him to pass. He just keeps going. Eventually does find that pass, and Brandon Kavanagh dispatches well in 6 minutes to give Drogheda a perfect start, and his first goal for the club. And you're probably thinking at that point, if Shells could get a draw, it's a good result, but to come back and win it, brilliant. Early goal in the second half, Sam Bowen converts. I tell you, Drogheda would be disappointed with it though. Out of all the teams in the league, to concede from that set piece. Sam Bone was completely free. Straight into an offside position, comes back out. But they don't deal with it. They leave him unmarked, and then he scores. It's a save by Dennison, then he comes out and he scores a rebound. I think Drogheda will be very disappointed that they've conceded that way. The penalty, a lot of people think controversial. I've been doing my research on this one though, and by the law, it's a penalty. Apparently, if Sean Boyd heads that over the bar and it goes out of play, the penalty isn't given. But because the ball is still in play, Dennison comes out and punches and catches him basically, and Boyd goes down. But because the ball is still in play, the penalty is given. It's deemed that there's a chance that if Boyd isn't taken out of it, essentially, can get back up and potentially Shelbourne actually score from that. I don't make the rules. They're the rules. So by law, it was a penalty. It'll seem harsh to Drogheda, and I get it. But to be honest, I understand why it was given. I understand the rule as well, to be fair. So, Harry Wood took a while, but steps up and dispatches the penalty. And Shells get a very important 3 points. Disappointing few weeks, you'd have to say, for Drogheda on and off the field. They were disappointing in Dundalk, but they managed to get a point here. They'll be disappointed to lose the game, and they're still in a decent position, but it's been a disappointing week overall. And we've seen the interview on LOI TV for Kevin Doherty. Now, personally, I think that's funny, to be honest with you. I think it's funny. I don't think there's an awful lot wrong with it. He's taking the mickey a little bit, to be fair. He's not being overly serious, but how did it know they were recording? I don't know. That was poor. He could have said a lot worse, in my opinion. He's taking the mickey, to be honest with you, and any other manager in that case. I think Dundalk fans may not like, and Drogheda fans probably find it hilarious, but if the shoe was on the other foot with Kieran Kilduff, Dundalk fans would think it's hilarious and Drogheda fans wouldn't like it. So, I thought it was funny. I think sometimes you can't take these things too seriously, and it's a good, I think it's a funny League of Ireland moment. I don't know what people think in the comments, but I just thought it was funny, especially as he wasn't being overly serious. But yeah, Drogheda United won, Shells 2. Big win for Shells, disappointing couple of weeks or so for Drogheda United. In the Connacht Derby, it finished Galway United 1, Sligo Rovers 0. McHugh getting a red card right to death for Sligo Rovers. Jimmy Cohan gave the Galwegians the lead after 19 minutes with a lovely finish, beautiful finish. The keeper was never, Sam Sarge was never getting near it. Brilliant finish, good play actually for Galway. Ed McCarthy had a great chance, didn't he? Just gets under the ball, leans back a bit. He should have scored to make it 2-0, and I think Galway would be happy enough. I think they'd be satisfied enough with their start to the season. 1-1 draw at Tolka Park, winning the Connacht Derby, unlucky to lose at home to Drogheda. 4 points. I think they'd be reasonably happy. Certainly with the overall context of performances. They obviously got the Pats on Monday, which is an interesting game as well, but I think they'd be reasonably happy, and they'd be delighted obviously with getting their first win on the board with this victory at Eamon DC Park, and starting to look a bit solid in defence. Williams has come in and done well, etc, and they were the better side in this game. They really deserved the victory. Sligo Rovers, again, a disappointing start, and you're kind of looking at them going, do they need a possible summer window to help them again? Hikiki isn't getting in the team. He's come on as a sub, which is curious, in the last number of games. And obviously Elding is gone, who started very well at Hibs, no surprise to me. McManus is in, which will be a help, but at the moment they're looking a bit short, aren't they? They're also looking short in confidence early doors. They don't look like they can score a lot of goals, which is something you would have said to Sligo even last year when they were struggling before the summer window. Yeah, they were conceding a lot of goals, but you felt they could score goals in games. In an early game where they lost 4-3 at Pats, as an example. But so far this season, obviously they got one in Derry, but they failed to score against Bows and didn't really look like scoring. Same in this game as well. That's my worry for them. It's the fact that they're conceding essentially, but they're not scoring. They always had that last year, even when they're struggling. They're grabbing goals though. Do they need the summer window again? Potentially, but at the moment they're looking short and looking a bit dodgy, let's say. Themselves and Waterford in particular at the moment look dodgy, and I think Galway will be satisfied, and especially when they compare themselves to Sligo and Waterford at this minute in time, certainly, I think they'll be satisfied. Soft pitch, obviously, as you'd expect over in Galway, in Eamon DC Park at this stage of the season, and especially with the weather, but excellent result for Galway. Now, it's very disappointing for Sligo Rovers, I must say. So guys, we'll leave it there. Please subscribe to the channel. We'll have another show where we look ahead to the games next Friday, and I'll look back at Pats and Galway in Inchicore as well. Subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.